Hi, my name is Sarah Talmadge. I'm doing my demonstration speech on archery and how to shoot a compound bow. This is my compound bow, which is a Hoyt Charger, which I got about a month ago. Archery has been around for many, many years, and it is considered to be a great influence on civilization. And there are three kinds of bows that are used today. There are the recurve bows, which what you would imagine that Robin Hood would use. And then we have the compound bow, and then there is the crossbow. The compound bow is actually derived from the recurve bow, and in the early 1960s, Hollis Wilbur Allen was the one that decided to take a recurve bow, which is a lot longer. It would probably go up to about here, and there is only one string instead of one string that is multiply wrapped around the cams. And he decided to add these cams, which are pulleys, which maximizes the power behind the bow. There are many parts of the bow, and most of these things are the accessories. Right here I have a 4-arrow quiver, and then we have the idler cam, and then the cam. Then I have a 3-point sight, which the top point, which is green, I'm not sure if you can really see it, but the top point is the closest distance. The yellow point is the mid distance. Some people have 30, 40, and 50 feet or yards. And then the red is the furthest distance. Then here, not sure if you can really see it, but here is the whisker biscuit, is where your arrow is going to sit. And then here we have the knock loop. Can't quite see it very well. And this is where the arrow is going to go. You're going to put the knock on the end of the arrow, and it's just going to fit right in there, so you know exactly where the arrow should hold. And then we have the stabilizer, which stabilizes the bow during and after you shoot. And then there's the wrist sling, where you just put your hand through and hold onto the grip. And a little bit about the arrows. These are just carbon arrows, and there is fletching on them, which are just artificial feathers. The top one is, as you can tell, is white, and the two bottom are orange. You can get them in any color, really. But the two bottom, when you put them into your bow with your arrow, the two same colored fletchings go on the bottom, and then the other color goes on the top, which helps the arrow fly straighter. Obviously, these are just practice tips. You use broadheads, which when you actually hunt. So today I'm not going to be shooting an arrow because I am kind of in town, if you can tell from the houses behind me. But I will be showing you and teaching you how to shoot the bow. First thing that you need to do is make sure that you have a bow that is fit for you and nobody else. See, like, I won't be able to accurately shoot someone's bow that is 5'3" because I'm 5'10", and you need to have a bow that is fit for you with the draw length, so when you pull back, your arm goes all the way back. So if someone that was 5'3", my arm might only go to here. And you're going to have an anchoring point, which the kisser button right here is my anchoring point. Some people, they use their thumb when they pull back and they just hold it like this. But I have the kisser button, which I keep right here when I shoot, at the corner of my mouth. And so my anchoring point, if I was shooting somebody's bow that was a lot shorter than me, might be like right here, so it's not going to work very well. So you want to make sure the bow is right for you and you have the correct draw weights. My bow is at 45 pounds, which isn't super good, but it's pretty decent. This bow goes from 30 pounds to 75 pounds, if I'm correct. So when I get used to it more, and I practice more, and I shoot more, then I'll be able to increase my draw weight, which will help the arrow be more accurate and go faster. Which, with this bow, the arrows go at about 325 feet per second, and that's considering the speed and velocity at the same time. So once you have a bow that is good and fit for you, and no one else, you're going to make sure that when you shoot, you have the correct stance, which I know you can't really see, and I'm not going to step back too far because it's really bright outside. But instead of keeping your feet close together like this. You want to keep them about a shoulder width apart. So you're going to stand here like this. Some people, they put their feet in a different position, but I just keep them parallel to each other. And then this right here is an extremely important tool that you're going to want to use. Some people say that they don't use it, but I feel that it's very important. Without this little release trigger, bad things can happen, and your bowstrings can come off your cam because it's very narrow, and they could snap your arm, things might go flying, and you could break something on your bow. So, you want to have your feet shoulder width apart, and then the next thing you want to make sure is you have the correct grip on your bow. When you grip your bow, instead of holding your hand like this, you're going to keep it at like a 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock position. So you got 12, 11, 10. So you want it like this, which also keeps your arm at the correct position. Because if your arm is too close to the strings, you could bruise your arm, and I've done it a couple of times. It's not very fun. You don't notice it at first, but then you notice it once a bruise initially starts. And you're like, oh, that's nice. So, you want to have your hand about like this. You don't want to grip your bow like you're gripping a baseball bat. I'm shaking really bad. But you don't want to grip it like this because the bow will move a lot. You want to grip it like this. See, I'm doing the same thing. My bow isn't moving as much. So, once you have the correct grip, you're going to take your release trigger. You're going to stick it onto the knock loop. And then some people, they're able to just pull back, but since I'm a beginner, I start out with my bow like this. And today I'm not going to be, like I said before, I'm not going to be shooting an arrow, so I'm not going to hit the release trigger. I'm just going to let my bow down. But when you are shooting, you always want to make sure that with your release trigger, don't keep your finger like this. Once you stick your release trigger onto the knock loop, you want to put your finger back here, which is considered the safety, because if you prematurely release it, you could obviously shoot your arrow off somewhere, and you could lose your arrow, or you could harm somebody or something that you weren't initially trying to shoot, or your arrow could fall out of the knock loop and it could come back and hit you. It's not going to do any extensive damage, but you could have a bloody nose and a black eye, which isn't fun. It's never happened to you before, and I hope it doesn't happen. But. So, we're going to put the release trigger on, keep our finger back in safety, put the bow up and kind of do like, you kind of push up to the air. You're going to push the bow away and you're going to pull your arm back. So it's going to be, so you're just pulling both arms in a different direction. So make sure you have the correct position, and then keep your finger behind the safety. Look through the peep sight, and I'm keeping my kisser button at the corner of my mouth. And then you're going to look through your 3-pin sight, and then here, once you get your target set up, then you're going to hit the trigger, and you're going to let it go. But I'm just going to let it go. And then, after you aim and hit the trigger, make sure you keep your shooting arm up. Don't drop your bow right away. Some people do, some people don't. I always just keep mine up. And then, when you're ready, and you have heard your arrow hit your target, or you hear your target fall if you're in the woods or in the field, then you can drop your arm, go to your target, and then congratulate yourself on your amazing archery abilities. So, I hope you all have a nice day.